Hello, everybody. Joining you today here, I wanted to open this up to general chat. So I am working on some things here for the Clan Network. I'm going to be doing a little bit of prototyping and just having some fun. I've got the chat box up though, and I'd love to open it up to any questions. If anybody else has questions, I'll kind of be monitoring chat the best I can. Feel free to shoot a quick like on the page or follow as well. Go to the Discord. If not, go to clannetwork.com, join Discord from there, and you'll have the invite code. You can jump into live chat with me if you want and prefer to go via audio chat. So other than that, yeah, I'm going to start working away here on some rapid prototyping for the Clan Network. Love to answer any questions that you guys have about whether the Clan Network or any other things that have to do with media, prototyping, gaming, streaming, anything you can think of. Kind of here to answer those questions. So, all right, cheers, guys. I'm going to grab a quick beverage to get started. Can't work without a little bit of refreshments, and here we go. All right, so you guys will see me looking down a little bit. And unfortunately, that's just because of where my monitor position is in relation to my camera. But definitely wanted to, open this up. I want to be as available as possible so that, you guys have access and at least get to see a little bit about what it's about. I've had a lot of people ask questions already. So while I'm developing, I figure I might as well go and get online. All right, cool. And I'm monitoring, like I said, some of the chats as well. So you'll see me jump over there. So right now I'm actually working on the main dashboard, and I'm using Adobe XD to do this, just to prototype, and basically working on what it looks like when we're integrating all these streaming services together. So should be pretty cool, and I'm excited about it. That's for sure. I'm also listening to music in my headset, and I just tapped it. So unfortunately, I changed tracks, and I like that last track. But I'm happy to put up my playlist on Discord as well. If anybody jumps into Discord, feel free to shoot me a chat there as well, and I'll put it up on the playlist. Cool. All right. So here we go. I'm gonna do some modifications. Okay, modifying that. Now I know you guys can't see my screen, and I can open it up to you guys if that's something that you'd like. I can put it in a little window here. And let's see. But I figure some of this is kind of boring for some of you guys, some of it's not. So I thought I'd see if anybody jumps in, has any questions in general, and then go from there. Okay. So one of the things I think that I'm like most excited about is like there hasn't before been an ability, aside from the developers of the actual video games, like nobody's taken the video games and like said we can speak across systems necessarily. So obviously Xbox doesn't communicate with PS4, so it's up to the developers to really implement that feature. And so I'm looking for something outside of essentially the developers of the individual video game to be able to communicate with your best friends, people who might be playing games, maybe playing games with you. You're running missions that are like not on the same specific server in game sometimes, but like you can communicate about the missions that you're actually working on and what you're doing and all the different things in games, especially for like solo player things. This service will be designed mostly for streamers though, and for teams to use essentially together. And that's one of the cool features, is that I think it has that versatility between solo players and multiplayer. So it lets you form temporary alliances, it lets you run on your own, and I think this is going to be really cool for those of you who kind of like the technology or like to have like different things up. Until now, streamers really, you have to have multiple windows open and kind of flip back and forth, especially if you're like on Twitch and you're also on YouTube. And I think that having multiple windows open obviously is a lot to balance. Even if you use some software to handle all of your chat client together, you still can't really see what's going on with like a lot of other people that you might be going and running the same game with or playing with in the same tournament. And so that's kind of where we're hitting home, is the ability to really bridge that gap in communication for streamers especially, but for all gamers, to bring you guys together kind of in a network and give you one place to go, customizable, fully accessible, ready for you to be able to communicate with different people. And got a couple of surprises on my sleeve too for how we're going to implement that. What features and functionality we hope to have, whether it's, you know, on Twitch, again, Mixer, YouTube, Facebook Live, any of those platforms. So hopefully that gives you an idea of like what we're trying to accomplish. And I think that it would be a very good thing. It will be a very good thing, I should say, when we're able to, you know, just move forward with it. I'm kind of excited, I'm not gonna lie. And here we go. So right now, like I said, I'm creating the main dashboard. I'm essentially getting, how to explain this? So like I'm reverse engineering this process here for prototyping. So I'm creating like everything at once, like as a whole, right? And then I'm going to back it down to like components and pieces. That being said, as creating a whole, I already have some components and pieces I'm creating, but there's, you know, bound to be more, and there's going to be little tweaks and things that you have to do. So that's kind of one of the reasons I'm excited to open up beta testing to some people who signed up free early, and everything like that. So it should be cool. So let me go ahead and work through this here real quick. Okay, I'm gonna change this guy out. Ooh, hold on, that's not what I want at all. So this is a good experience for me too, because I'm not necessarily used to working in streaming, which is kind of cool. I'm used to like playing games where we have a common mission, a common goal, right? And we're communicating oftentimes by headset through, you know, whether attached to your controller or wireless or whatever, but communicating with our teammates in that game specifically a lot of times now. So we're just going to take that like the next step further and make this like kind of open up even more. So here we go. I need to change this around. Okay. See, I already see some things. Something I have to rework here in this main instance. So kind of a little bit of a bummer, but that's part of the learning process. And that's one of the reasons I'd say that this has taken a while to get even as far as we've gotten, because for me, this isn't what I used to do every day. It is something I'm excited about, but it's definitely not something that I would say that I'm used to doing every single day. So working in product management, I definitely did a lot of marketing, and I've used a lot of these tools, whether minimally or to, a vast extent depending on the specific tool. But when it comes to this actual the development process, I have through product management experience, I have agile experience and other experiences that lend to this, but I also don't know 100% every capability yet. So for sure, this is actually going to be a process. It's going to take a little time, but I'm hoping that, like I said, I'm hoping we can get there by holiday, because if we can't, that's a good time frame to release for the new systems, which I'm super excited about, and really, really looking forward to that. So, like I said, I know that sounds kind of cheesy probably, but super, super excited for the new systems coming out. I think one of the things that I'm most excited for, I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts, is that it is next generation, right? So I actually think that we have probably we won't see the biggest leap in the graphics department necessarily. Yes, we will, in ray tracing and volumetric lighting and other cool things from a tech perspective. But I almost anticipate the biggest change, especially when we talk about the SSD from Sony and those kind of things, might come in the form of, let's see here. Sorry, this is actually on the wrong group now. Okay, I'm just gonna undo that. So it might actually come in the form of, like I said, level design, like quote unquote, buffer streaming technology. I think that when we think about artificial intelligence, we think about what actually is happening with gaming technology. A lot of times gaming worlds can be sometimes more immersive than our world in some aspects. I think that's kind of normal. And that's just shows like where we've come from a technological standpoint, so super excited for how this integrates like into much higher level interactivity. And I talked a little bit when I was playing the Division the other day about like what type of things I'd expect to see, and some of those would be like single instance uses, like, or individual like characters that they're pervasive and everything affects them, right? So like when you think about it in terms of, and we might not be quite there yet with the release, but I think in the long term we will be. But what you do, you may not even met a character yet. What you're doing is affecting the economy or affecting the way the game plays from all of the characters' perspective, and that instant ability to process, so to speak, with the solid state and like how low latency is getting and all the other things, I think will give it to like much more computational power on those kind of things, which will be cool, because I think that ultimately that will be like, imagine a game that every single time you play it, like it feels entirely different. And I think that's kind of where we're headed in some ways. Will there still be stories and games with stories? Yeah, actually, I think storytelling is huge and probably the most important underrated part of almost anything, whether it's streaming or gameplay or anything like that, right? But I think that stories ultimately will be much more complicated, truthfully, for people to process. So shoot, I just thought of something. If this doesn't work out, maybe I'll become a storyteller. Maybe I'll actually start building stories and complicated hierarchies. I bet authors are going to have like a lot more demand here in the future in the video game world if they don't already. It's definitely been you've seen AAA titles. AAA titles are big on that too. Okay, so let's see. that is not working. It's not good to do it this way, I don't think. Okay. This is very interesting to me because I'm working with ellipses in particular that like I haven't been used to working with there we go. Okay, this specific thing. So let's see how this goes. It's just not what I want to do. And so far, it looks like I haven't had anybody on yet to like ask any questions about what we're doing. Entirely a-okay, but definitely am open to it and don't want you guys to think I'm not here. So I'm going to keep talking here and there. And I'm trying to, like I said, monitor all chat and just make sure that I have everything kind of up to date. If I don't, I'm using a chat aggregator, right? So if I don't have see your text or chat right away, like A, I'm working on some of this stuff, and B, it may not come through completely instantly. And that's one of the things we have to solve for, right? Is like how we figure out, random instances. So my camera may get a little out of focus once in a while. So I don't, in case anybody's watching this back or like after the fact, anybody wonders like how I did what I do or what I got into, like I actually started by a media company about a year and a half ago. Well, it's a little more than that now. But I basically kind of got into that just part time. I had worked in product management for years and years, and just decided I really kind of wanted to work more. I wanted to have fun in like the media world. So I started like photography, videography, doing some more web design again, which I had done like a long time ago in, like I said, marketing world. So did that and then kind of just kept building skill sets, Once that continued, I would say I just like find projects I'm passionate about and try to continue to develop those, like wherever possible anyway. And sometimes it's like working for other people. Sometimes it's doing something fun like this, working for myself ultimately. You never know, I guess. You just have to keep working. That's the name of the game. All right, so this is actually looking better now. Kind of happier so far with the way it's looking. Again, I got the soundtrack bumping in my head, which I'm super enjoying. In case anybody's wondering what I'm listening to a custom Post Malone playlist. I giggle a little when I say that, not because I don't love Post Malone. I do. But I listen to everything. Like I think the range of what I listen to is so vast that it would be hard for me to like pinpoint one specific thing. And a lot of people would think, okay, like this type of person listens to this or this type of person listens to that. The reality is, I think a lot of us, listen to a lot of things. We play a lot of different types of games, and it's kind of where I'm at. That's exactly who I am. I'm listening to a bunch of stuff. So I found a way to do this. I'm excited because this means I'm one step closer to finishing the main part of, kind of main. When I say main, it's just like a really quick prototype dashboard is what I'm working on, like I said. So still super excited. Just saying, I don't want to throw this out and you guys are like, what the heck? That's really stupid. Theoretically, I guess that could happen regardless. And I've learned to stand my own on that. Sometimes things are really stupid to everybody. Super positive outlook, right? I'm pretty real though. Like, you definitely can't please everybody, which is why I said like my primary market was originally, like when I thought this idea up, was for streamers. And you'll see, like I'm literally streaming still right now to nobody's chatting with me anyway. Like I'm just streaming because I think it's super cool. I got more into video games, and video game streaming just started here as COVID developed. And I think entertainment's going to continue to develop. This is a really fun, unique form of entertainment. So I thoroughly enjoy it, and I'm excited to continue to do it in my spare time where I can. So yes, let me know if anybody wants to play any games too. Usually pretty down for that. Okay. Next step. So this is a challenging part. Like I'm trying to figure out, one of the questions I have to ask myself is how much to invest. Like how much do I invest right now, right? In specifically in this project, right? I've invested a ton of time and a little bit of money so far, and I think that like potential is unlimited. However, we all have a finite amount of resources. So I am playing with a couple of different things here. Okay. Let's see. Let's see. Super chill song I'm listening to right now, by the way. You guys have probably heard it. White Iverson. I'm drinking Coke Zero. I've actually said this before, but I normally drink the regular Coke Zero, by the way, not cherry vanilla, or there's orange vanilla too. They're both good. I normally drink regular, or prefer, like, I think maybe the regular cherry, but I felt like something a little sweeter today. If Coke ever wants to sponsor me, feel free. I'd love some free Coke Zero. But that was a completely unsponsored nod to Coke. Probably not the last you'll see. I think probably every day I'm giving an unsponsored nod to Coke. So maybe I should stop giving away like unsponsored nods for free, since, hey, if I get money into developing this, I think I'm in a better position to ultimately bring this to market to help everybody and have fun, It's kind of the goal. So now I need to jump on the internet of webs here real quick. Cool. Kind of moving between a couple of things too, so I'm in between browsers and applications and all sorts of fun stuff right now. That did not work. Ironically, I think one of the funniest things is I can't tell you how many times I probably say that did not work. A lot of people think that development in general is like you learn a specific set of rules and you take those rules out and you apply them. And I would say that's true. Again, keep in mind, I'm not employed as a developer, right? I'm self-employed in a media company right now. However, as a developer, somebody who has developed and been employed developing websites and other things for people, I would say no matter how much you know about rules, a lot of times each instance is unique. Therefore, how you apply those rules can sometimes change. And oh, look, you can see what I'm working on right here in my glasses. Check that out. There's a sneak preview. So yeah, you can see how to kind of develop those things. I think is what I'm saying in the long run. It's just that you got to change things. Like you got to tweak. You got to figure out how it applies to that use case, is what they call it, right? Or that instance. And so very much development is a problem solving process. In fact, I would say I do know somebody who works for EA, and I know somebody who works for Google, and extended friends with somebody who works with Facebook. And by the way, I'm not networked into any of those, or I probably have more going on with this right now. But those extended networks or the extended friends that like have those kind of jobs, I can say that what I've seen is it takes a lot of tenacity specifically to develop, especially in the game development world. I think that the reality is you're always applying, a lot more than you would think. Um, I think it just takes so much time. So I would say that's probably why. Okay, so we're gonna remove that. You always want to try something new too, right? Like the same old thing is boring, right? If I were bringing you guys something that had been done before, that would probably also be boring. At the same time, I am prototyping, so this shouldn't be rocket science probably, and isn't for a lot of like super crazily talented people. I'm not saying I'm not talented. I don't know if I'd consider myself super crazy talented though. Hmm. 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 Interesting. And now, congratulations. I like this song actually. Well, I like all the songs, or I wouldn't be listening to it. But what I like about this song specifically is like it's chill, but also like very upbeat and um inspires me, I would say. I think that's a good way to say it. It inspires me to like get better, do some things. Like, look, we made it. Oh man, oh man. I think that I'm going to change my approach here because this is not working. Solve one thing, on to the next. In which case, again, you just got to keep rolling with it. Sometimes change your approach a little bit. Sometimes scrap an idea completely, especially if it's costing you too much time. It's really funny. There's like this balance of trade-off that you always have to be careful of in business, and some of that is like time versus or money. Time is money. Versus like the payoff or reward, like what you're getting from it. And super mediocre software is released every day, as you guys probably aware. Truthfully, that's become a lot of the strategy is release early, iterate often is kind of how you'd say it. Again, release early and get it out there and get at least your name going, get a little bit going with development, and then you can change some things and make it better. Am I saying you should release a crap piece of software? Nope. Definitely don't intend on doing that. I would prefer to, I think everybody would prefer, but I think too many people release like things that aren't baked enough right now or aren't developed enough right now. And so you got to release something of quality, and that affects your name. So definitely recommend doing that. Boom. We're going to go ahead and save that. And now we're going to preview again. Let's cross our fingers. Fingers crossed, literally. Ah, dang it. That didn't work either. Okay, cool. Back to the drawing board. Part of the reason I'm doing this series, by the way, like it's funny because I'm mostly focused on like when I'm online streaming games. But I thought today to myself, I was like, man, I bet like when I was younger, I would love to have known or looked at like what are somebody else's thoughts on how to accomplish some of these things. Um, it's always cool to me. It's always cool to see or what somebody else is thinking in general. I think that there's a lot of value in that because you can typically you can learn from people, and learning, I'd say learning is the fundamental cornerstone of how to do some things. So, well, it's the cornerstone of how to do everything, but intrinsically you might have some knowledge baked in, or that you can learn on your own, but learning from others is a much better way to get further quicker or better. So there's an expression that says actually, a smart man learns from his mistakes and a wise man learns from another man's mistakes. And I think wholeheartedly that is true. I think that a smart person does learn from their mistakes. The hope is that you keep growing, keep moving. You may not learn from one mistake the first time you do it. Of course, I think we all have our own time frame and different development process, but you probably will learn. And what you learn from that mistake is kind of crucial in some ways too, I've just noticed another little flaw that I would like to fix. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Mostly because I think when this little flaw is fixed, you might as well do it early. Okay. I like that a lot better. Perfect. This is looking good. And then like it's funny too because sometimes I can tell you when I was younger specifically, it was so much easier to think like why should I redo this, or why should I fix this, or like, and it's not like it's coming from a bad place. It's sometimes it's just like, I want to be done, or isn't this good enough? And we just talked about it, like for sure that's a question you have to ask yourself, even when you get a little bit older, and or even when you're working in the product development or product marketing field. There's always a trade-off. But I would say that you become better and better at diagnosing those moments where it's like, this is worth it, just go ahead and do it, get it done, knock it out. Or this really is something that is not crucial or critical to, there's a term called minimum viable product. Yeah, so for any of you guys who want to know a little more about product management or how like IT in general works outside of the video game specifically, minimum viable product for any application or game would be something that you are going to release and is going to function very well, and your users should be as a core happy or accomplishing your mission, whether it's to a business or to and I'll look up for a minute and explain this. So whether you are actually working for a business and you're creating software and applications for them, or whether you're creating games or something for consumers, I would say, they call that B2B, business to business, or business to consumer. So regardless, they say that like 80% of software doesn't meet the original stockholders or decision makers criteria, and that's because most of the time when we're creating this list of criteria and we're developing to it, we fail to make a truly minimum viable product. It doesn't accomplish the original intent, and or the language behind that intent wasn't fully communicated or heard on either side. So you'll learn too that blame is irrelevant in business. Truthfully, there's always going to be somebody who blames somebody, especially if you have a manager that just really like is all about your personal accountability versus their accountability. But at the end of the day, as a business owner, I will tell you, when I hire somebody, or if I'm managing somebody, I've managed for many years too, that oftentimes I look at somebody else's failure as my failure. And it's something that I won't tell you I'm happy to accept, but I will accept it, and I will learn from it, and I will continue to grow. And so that's kind of how I gotten where I am today, right now, and how we're starting to make this process work for looking at this software and everything. But yeah, you've got to develop something that's a minimum viable product, actually meeting a goal and serving your customers, whoever those customers are. So if you don't do that, you kind of failed objective, I would say. It's pretty self-explanatory. I don't think there's a lot of debate over that in general. Okay. So I actually kind of like where I'm at right now with one of my main screens. And like I said, I'm going to reverse engineer from here. So I'm going to move in a different direction probably in a couple of minutes. But I'm going to flip over to the internet again real quick, and I want to see if I can pull a couple of things just for fun, a couple thumbnails, a couple like make things look a little prettier, and go from there, Tight. Just a glimpse of the world that was outside my. All right, so that. But me, I never fit, and I didn't try. No, I just quit, and I taught myself to fake a smile. But oh, true joy came when I looked through my window pane. So okay, I'm gonna move back over here, and I think it's good that I did this, because I think that I missed one other little thing that should be easy to fix, but I'm gonna fix it now versus later. Okay. All right. One of the cool things I do like, I've been working with Adobe, God, 25 years or something like that. Some ridiculously long period of time. I'm literally trying to add that up in my head now. So 21, 22 years, I guess, is actually closer to accurate. No, maybe 24. So either way, whatever. Long time I've been working with Adobe, and to see where they've come, I am totally about open source and free. If you can develop with it and you can make things, work for you. However, so Adobe today is so much more reasonably priced than they used to be, and not only do I feel like they have an amazing product suite that has changed a lot from where it used to be, and developed so much more with their acquisitions and other things, but they've done a wonderful job of integrating those. Is it perfect? No, absolutely not. Is it for like every Macintosh person who maybe really likes, something that's super simplified from an appearance standpoint? It depends on the product. Some Adobe products are really user friendly, but majority of them definitely have their own learning curve, and that's part of what I run into as well when I haven't used something in a long time, or I haven't used it recently, and I'm like just getting back up to speed on it. So yeah, good times, good times. And let's see here. Okay, now that I know that works and I actually didn't have to go back and redo that, we're gonna accelerate the rest of this process real quick, like so. Yes, I'd like to do that. I'm gonna replace and let's see here. Okay. Next. Perfect. If any of you guys don't work with like multiple files and different programs and all that, and you ever want to get into graphic design or you want to get into design in general, let me give you probably the best piece of advice I can give you in terms of workflow and process. Never forget to create a structure, create a file structure, create a folder structure, create a naming structure. Like make sure that like you have plenty of zeros, enough zeros to accomplish whatever your mission is on like the files you're creating. And what I mean by zeros is you have to name or rename your first file if you didn't name it correctly the first time, with enough placeholders so that the number of files you're going to have of any given type, you're able to fit those sequentially. If it's a sequential thing, especially if it's non-sequential, great, no worries. It doesn't hurt to get used to naming conventions in general, but there are times I will fully say that I don't use sequential naming, but then there are times when I do, and sequential naming becomes absolutely integral to any work process because you don't need, one picture that you're searching for and you can't remember what you named it. And if you'd only named it like what you're trying to accomplish with a 01, 02, 03, 04, you would have been better off because you won't forget that, right? Or even if you do, you're probably going to be able to rebound much quicker. Because you're going to get a group or a cluster of files that are ultimately going to show specifically. And I don't know, actually, I'm taking screenshots too right now too, and I'm doing a couple things for looks. So I wonder if I just saw a flash on my screen that has the chat box in my video up. Hi guys. I wonder if it paused the video capture card too. That's funny. Well, we shall see. We shall see. This is kind of a cool thing from COVID that I didn't expect. Like, like I've had a little time to do some stuff like this. Really unfortunate. Like, I have probably lost a good portion of my clients, truthfully. And I'm not the kind of person to stress people out and to tell them that they should spend money with me when they really shouldn't. I'm super, super honest and straightforward. So, in fact, many of my clients, I would say I told specifically that like their best bet during this process from a media perspective is to not minimize their media, but minimize their spend in consideration to, again, effort versus like what you're accomplishing. And I don't want to say getting from it, because getting from it's a very selfish way to look at things sometimes. Is it the reality of some business people's lives, yeah, absolutely. But I think accomplish is a better word. So ultimately, advising people to think about what they're spending versus what they're accomplishing. And during COVID, it's hard to justify spending a ton of money not accomplishing some things. So you just have to be aware of that. I think remember what you're accomplishing at all times for what you're putting out there, effort, whether it's money, truthfully, or energy, even. Um, so, like, truthfully, every person absolutely says in the whole world that they absolutely think this is a horrible idea and they hate it. Well, the clan network will no longer exist, right? Everybody will vote with their dollars and their resources and all that good stuff too. So, yeah, good times. So right now I'm listening to Ball for Me. Like I said, this is one of my playlists from Post Malone. This makes it up on LinkedIn. Yes, guys, again, I listen to everything. Um, Legitimately, I think too. I have very few genres that I don't listen to, very few types of music. I love music. So yeah, I liked lots of good stuff. Ooh, that's interesting. I didn't mean to do that. Let's redo that. Perfect. Okay. Okay, so let's see here. Let's go ahead and change this out. It's funny, in my glasses, almost everything looks the same to me. Like when I'm looking at the reflection up there. It doesn't look like I'm doing anything, which is really funny to me. I'm doing some stuff, you know. Mm-hmm. And there we go. So what I'm doing right now is just changing single instances. It's not going to reflect a lot like what somebody would see necessarily. But like it'll make everything look better for the package, so to speak. It'll make everything look better for when somebody takes a snapshot or they look at it going, oh, okay, I understand, or I get that, like now a little bit better. Okay. So I got done with that part. I'm going to save my work. It's always horrible if you have something that doesn't save and then you realize you lost all your work. So there's another fun tip: save often. Shoot, don't only save often. We talked about like sequential naming. Sequentially name your files for your program as well. Not just the files you're putting into it, but like, let's say that you were photoshopping something, for instance. Well, if you decide, oh, I like this picture, but what if I do this? Cool. Before you do that, save as, and then put the rest of it, right? Like save as blank 02. And if you didn't name the first one 01 or 001, depending on like how many things, like I'm going to do 100 of this photo or 200 of this photo, well, you're going to need 3, zeros there to make that happen. So if you didn't do that, go back and just rename. No big deal. This is not rocket science for some of you. So some people might not like these tips. Feel free to comment. Tell me how much you hate me. But trying to give them, because I think that like some of you guys might be, a little bit younger here or there. And if you do pick this channel up and you're a little younger, you certainly want to speak to you as well. I might as well give some tips while I'm hanging out working anyway. Give some more advanced tips, give some more little tips, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So I think I've got a very simplistic main design done. I'm trying to figure out right now like what to do with this though. Like, man, it's like I want to accomplish, I want to do a little bit more. But here's the thing: if you do too much, then you don't get anything done too. I just think I want to flush this out a tiny bit more. Okay. Let me think. Okay. Hmm. I think I'm gonna pause. I'm gonna go through this real quick. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna use this. Okay. Let's see here. I need to figure this part out too. That's not what I wanted to do. Okay, so what I'm working on now is I've created the quote unquote, not end vision, but I've created a prototype vision. And now I'm going to reverse engineer back to the original. So my next step in my head right now, and feel free to challenge this perspective, but I'm going to destroy everything that I just built. and then I'm going to fill in the gaps in between. So I could sequentially step backwards. That process to me seems like a lot longer than for me having an end, having a beginning. Having an end, having a beginning, and being able to go in between those. So ultimately, I'm going to destroy everything I just built within the framework and keep with the framework, and then I'm going to move in between. I'm going to essentially say, if I were a user, what would I do first? Or give essentially this prototype, I'm giving the option to do whatever, but I've got to create all those sequential steps, like when you click a button, what happens to the next thing, blah 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 blah, that kind of stuff. So that's where we're at so far. Dang it. I deleted the wrong thing again. The thing I don't like about this program so far that I'm using is sometimes like seemingly very simple things all of a sudden turn very complex. Like very complex. And to me that's like less fun than if you had obviously something that's like a little easier to work with. I want the power. Everybody wants the power, right? We want the power, but I also want some flexibility. Like I want a little more intuitive process here. So slightly not enjoying the fact that like not struggling but struggling through this specific instance. um I think there's got to be an easier way, there's got to be an easier way here. That being said, I am learning. So weird to me. I literally have to Google it because I can't figure it out like the easy way, I don't think, and I would rather not spend a year trying to figure this out. Okay. Hmm. One Google link says that is not a viable solution. I feel like that is probably not the case. So I do know that I forgot I can try a couple things here actually. So there's that. Insufficient. What song am I listening to now? Okay, so this is definitely, let's see here. I feel like this is an easy way to do it. Now let's see what happens if I do that. That did not work. So that also didn't work. I feel like, again, this should just be a little more intuitive. And while I could teach you guys about a lot of things, this is definitely not an area. Development in general, yes. Web design, yes. This is something I'm working through. think I might know why now. And still not seeing anybody on yet that needs any questions answered, but I'm still working away here. I'm just trying to kind of work through some things from a design standpoint. Okay, again, I'm kind of just sitting here working through it, modifying individual instances. Okay, so that is working away here. All right, so far we're looking okay. Again, for those of you who haven't come in, choice of beverage, Coke Zero, preferably the regular. Coffee too. So I put this under coffee chat, I think under one of the platforms. That is not inaccurate, actually. I do drink coffee. Usually it's not hot coffee, though. I live in Florida right now, so hot coffee is any time of year. Hot coffee is like real hot. I mean, it's aggressive. We're in Florida. It's always like freaking 80 to 100 degrees out and 90% humidity. Especially this time of year, it's literally horrible outside. You don't want to be out there and like the steam anyway, unless you're at the beach. And a lot of people are like, oh, but it's so nice in Florida and sunny, and you can go to the beach. And yeah, if you're at the beach is nice if you like the beach. But you're not at the beach. It's a little rough. It's a little rough. Okay. Okay, so I just need to do, I think I need to develop one more thing here. Oh, silliness, stop. Okay, so here is gonna have to spoof a visual trick here, I feel like, actually. So I think that will work. And then we're gonna go ahead and put this in here. Yes, indeed. Okay. So let's see here. Okay, so we're gonna call this so part of this process that I'm working on right now is actually taking in, like, occasionally, again, you'll figure out like, oh, I need this or I need that. It's great to have an idea, and for me, I would love to be perfect to the point where I could like not have to go and create something in the moment. I haven't met many people who are that good, and there probably are some, but it's, oh man, I think I did that, but then I think I also didn't do that. So this is probably gonna drive me a little bit nuts, but oh, how intriguing. It says I literally can't drag that there. So I messed something up. That's why I'm being silly. Oh, I knew that was going to happen. It's going to do that same silly thing that it was doing before. Too much pleasure is pain. Oh, I just learned something new, though. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, sometimes this stuff can be a little exciting, even. Okay, so I think I got that right now. Okay. So I think I have my beginning state and my end state. And so I'm probably going to take a break here real quick. It could be a little bit complicated here to finish this. I've definitely got a lot of work to do on all the in-betweens. So definitely going to take a quick pause break. I'm out of Coke Zero as of right now. So I got to get more. That's really what it is. And so thanks again for joining, guys. I'm going to come back and I'm going to stay live probably so that I can, again, answer any questions. If anybody wants to know anything about the Clan Network specifically, or if you would like to know anything about what we're developing for streamers and for gamers in general, how you might be able to use something like this to help you, as well as to have some more fun, and what everything looks like. So, or if you just have general game industry or marketing or anything like that, any questions in general, happy to answer anything. So thanks again, guys. I'll be back with you, and check out theclannetwork.com. That gives you some more information to start before we get up a prototype or any design stuff. Okay. All right. Thanks.